Welcome back to another episode of Sound of the Loons podcast brought to you by Align Health. I am your host, Zarek Valentine, and I am here with arguably one of my favorite additions this entire season, Chris Standring. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course. It's about time. You've been avoiding me for a little bit.
I haven't been avoiding you.
Okay, so you're new this year, so please introduce yourself to the podcasters, to the fan base officially. Give us a little bit of your background, where you came from, and then I'll probably dive into that a little bit more. But yeah, give us the elevator pitch.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So name's Chris Standring, lead video analyst for Minnesota United. Joined in February of this year. A little bit of background. So born and raised in London, England. Went to university in London as well. I was kind of a bit of a Londoner, never really left, to be honest with you. Sort of grew up there, went to university there, and studied sports science and computing in my undergrad. Enjoyed uni a lot, loved it. Didn't really want to leave, if I'm honest.
You and Ben Wilder.
Yeah, I was like a Van Wilder. And because I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my career, I always knew I wanted to do something in sport. I got offered the chance to do a master's at the same university, which was in sport and exercise biomechanics, which is probably the best sort of subject in sports science I was good at. So I jumped at the chance, and alongside that, you had the opportunity to do an internship at Chelsea Football Club. And the internship was in performance analysis. And at the time, I didn't really know too much about it. I knew a couple of guys in the year older than me at university that had done it, and they really enjoyed it. So I applied for the Masters, and then I had an interview with Chelsea, and it was probably my first ever interview, and I flopped completely. I was so bad in the interview. But I think my manager at the time, he saw a lot of potential in me. So he actually sent me on a year's internship at AFC Wimbledon.
Oh, okay.
Which was in non-league at the time. And I worked there for a season, and that was really good. I really enjoyed performance analysis. It was very new to that club as well. I was the only person there doing it. And I learned a lot about working in football. But I knew that I still wanted to, being a Chelsea fan, get back into Chelsea somehow.
So when you say performance analysis, what types of things were you doing with Wimbledon?
So with Wimbledon, it was, as I said, it was very new at the time as well. I'm going back to 2010. I mean, analysis had probably been around for about 15 years, but for that sort of club, it was very new. I mean, I had like the old school white MacBook that had a DVD drive in it, probably showing my age there. So the assistant manager would drop off a DVD of the games, the away games especially, around my house, and I'd spend about 12 hours overnight decoding it, so I'd go to sleep and I'd let it run through, and I could analyse the game the next day. And it was very basic stuff back then. I was looking at, breaking it out into goal kicks, chances, where we did well, where we could improve on, and I would sort of give a mini report back to the coach at the time. And he would deliver that to the team once a week. And I would do home games as well, and I'd sort of be wired up to the cameraman. And that was really my first sort of exposure to analysis back then. As I said, it wasn't that detailed. I was like an intern, only really 1 day a week. But I had a really good season there. And the season after that, I then went back to the boss at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Reapplied, and I got in.
There you go.
And I did AFC Wimbledon for a year, and I did Chelsea for a year alongside each other. And then I left Wimbledon and then sort of stayed Chelsea for the rest of the time.
So when you were talking analysis on the disc, was this just the TV broadcast view that you had, or did you have additional angles?
Sometimes it was just TV, or sometimes it was like the now it would be like YouTube channels, but back then it was like a sort of TV channel for Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And it would be a sort of like a video reporter who would film the game, and you know, there'd be a bit of back and forth because obviously we very zoomed in, so you couldn't see anything. So, but he was good. He was handy. He would like zoom out a lot for me to get like the tactical side of things. And yeah, he'd just give it to me on a DVD. Yeah,
that we used to. I remember my rookie year, we did video, and I was a rookie. I made a lot of mistakes, and I remember my first video session. I sat back and I was like, "All right, like this one won't be too bad." And he's like, Coach looks up. He goes, "Hey, let's switch to the tactical view." On the weak side, you see Z in the main frame isn't here, but he's not in the right spot. And I go, "Oh no," because you could see the whole, whole thing, right? So as an outside back, a lot of times on the weak side, you're not in the broadcast angle because you're too wide, or maybe you should be in, but you're not. So I remember sitting there and he zoomed out, and I was like, "Fudge, I am not in a good place." And then from that point on, I go, "All right, well now I can't gamble one bit." So but that was my intro to high level, I would say, performance analysis. So fast forward, you're back in. You reapplied at Chelsea. You get into Chelsea. Take us through that experience.
Yeah, so that was really good. I went in as the U13s analyst, and I was also supporting the under-21s as well. That was sort of the internship back then. You'd sort of lead with a younger age group, and you'd support one of the professional development phase age groups. So I was with the 21s just for match day support, and everything I would learn alongside the lead under 21s analyst, I would sort of go back down to the 13s and try and sort of implement some of those stuff in the younger age groups. And that would just be a lot of filming training, filming games, and just doing mini workshops with the players as well, and working with the coaching staff, and honestly just being around the building as well, and just sort of trying to sort of suck in as much knowledge as I could from, you know, the coaches, the ex-players there, the coaches that have been ex-players from academy level and first team level. So there's a wide range of coaches there. So I was just trying to sort of get as much knowledge and information as possible while I was there.
Well, take us in. What did you learn? What are some of the big things that stood out for you?
A big thing that stood out for me, definitely in Chelsea Academy, was first of all, for me, it's probably one of the best run organisations I've ever been a part of, and it was great. I loved it. I had 12 amazing years there, and that comes from the top down as well. The head of academy at the time, Neil Bath, he was an amazing person and had been around Chelsea for years and really sort of started up the academy. And there was a really good culture there. You know, it was a lot of winning mentality, but also a lot of working hard to get there as well. And the way that the training ground is set up, you have like a road separating the academy building to the first team building. So it's almost like crossing the road to get there. And it's
a rite of passage.
A rite of passage, yeah. So it was really amazing sort of being around coaches who were ex-players from academy level, but maybe got let go when they were 16, 17 and then went down the coaching route. Yeah. And then you've got a lot of coaches who were ex-players that played at the top end, for Chelsea or for other teams in the Premiership.
Lampard at this time, maybe.
More players like Andy Myers, Jody Morris, John Harley, and Torre Andre Flo, just to name a few there. Like the sort of coaches that were around that time. So it was really good just sort of gaining insight from coaches who were ex-players and also coaches who have started coaching from a young age but came through the academy system at Chelsea. So, you know, probably being coached under the coaches they were working alongside eventually. Yeah. So it was a really good. And I think that's where like my sort of work ethic of hard work and just that winning mentality really started from the really early starts of my career at Chelsea Football Club.
So this was, I mean, semi-early Abramovich years, right?
Yes.
Because this would have been, you said 2010 or 11, 12. Yep. He came in like 6, 7. Yes. That's when you guys... So that winning culture, the Mourinho, the win now, right? So that's when you talk about this desire. That comes from the top, and it's imagine the whole academy. Yep. So that's kind of the mentality that sets you into, hey, we got to do whatever's necessary to get results.
100%. And, you know, there's also a massive influence, not just on winning mentality, but just development as well. Yeah. So when you walk around the building, there's There's loads of quotes on the wall. There's a lot of position-specific profiles around the building as well. So, like, you know, an under 8 can come in on like a workshop day and they can see, you know, oh, so this is how a number 2 or a number 5 at Chelsea, this is what's expected of them. And, you know, it goes all the way up to the first team at the time. So, yeah, it was, as I said, it was an amazing place to be. I loved it. And what was so special about it as well was just the culture was just like a family.
Yeah.
It was so many good people there, and it was just a joy and a pleasure to be around every day. It was like going to work with your mates every day.
So you're not working. It didn't feel like work. Well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
No, I know
what
what you mean.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I mean, I still get up every day and enjoy coming to work.
Yeah.
You know, that's the privilege we have in this industry where, you know, we're involved in a sport that we grew up loving and some of us playing. And yeah, I just enjoy everything I do with this side of work.
Shucks, man. That's great. So fast forward, obviously you're at a place you loved. You spent many years there, but eventually the time came to transition. You know, your life was changing.
Yep.
Came to the States. Take us how, you know, you came stateside.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting story. So
we have time.
Yeah, we have time. So I was at the U18s for Chelsea in that role for about 10 years, and I loved it. You know, those age groups, we won everything, youth cups, leagues, and those players also transitioned into first team. And like I said to you, the good thing about Chelsea is that it's such a great place to work that not many people really left.
Yeah.
So the scope for progression at Chelsea was quite tough. And I always had a sort of ambition to come out to the States. Always sort of kept an eye on the MLS from afar and really enjoyed watching it. So every year I would come out in the off season, which in England is June, and my cousin actually lives in Arizona. Mm-hmm. So every year I'd come out to Arizona and spend about 2 or 3 weeks with him and the family. And I think it was 2022. I came out and I spent about 3 weeks with my cousin. And I think one evening I just said to him, I was like, do you know what? I'm really interested to see what Phoenix Rising's like. You know, the soccer team in the States. Didn't know anything about them apart from Didier Drogba played for Phoenix Rising. So I knew a little bit about the club from that perspective. So I actually reached out to the GM and the manager the night on LinkedIn. Yeah. Just sent a few random messages just to say, you know, I'm in town. I work at Chelsea Football Club.
You slid into some DMs.
I slid into some DMs to Phoenix. I wasn't expecting anything back. Yeah. And I got a reply, I think, straight away from the manager.
You say you up?
Yeah. So he was just like, like more than welcome for you to come down. Yeah. Are you free to come down tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. So I said to my cousin, I was like, oh, do you mind dropping me off at the training ground tomorrow? So he was like, yeah, brilliant. So I went down there, you know, in June in Arizona as well, baking hot. And this, you know, pale white English guy turning up. But yeah, it was really good. Like, you know, they were obviously right in the middle of their season and sort of went down and they were really open. They exposed me to a lot, you know, their team meetings, training, met a few of the players. And
this is the assistant coach that is in Houston now, right?
No, at the time, this was actually Rick Shantz.
Oh, okay.
When he was manager of Phoenix Rising. So I spent some time with him and it was really good. Like, sounded like a really good vibe at the club. Spoke to the GM. Like, it was really nice. Like, really enjoyed my day there. And right at the end of the day, I'll never forget it. Rick Shantz said to me, he was like, well, listen, if you're ever interested in coming out to States, we could probably do with some of your expertise out here. And I was like, well, you know, I'm actually really interested in sort of coming out here and be really open to exploring any opportunities that we're here. And he was like, yep, no problem. You know, we tend to not make many changes until the end of the season. I was like, cool, like, here's my email, here's my number, let's stay in contact. Yeah. So I went back home, started pre-season with Chelsea, and within 2 weeks, he emailed me saying, are you interested in coming out? We want to do the role now. And I was like, brilliant. So I spoke to the academy manager at the time at Chelsea, and he said it'd be a great opportunity for me. And as I said, I was in a place where I was sort of ready to leave Chelsea and explore first-team football, which is what the next step I wanted to do. And it happened so quickly. Within maybe 4 weeks, I had a visa, was in the line for the US Embassy in London, and then I packed my stuff up and went to Phoenix, Arizona.
The old July Phoenix, just straight in the oven.
Yeah. I was sort of thrown in a little bit at the deep end because Phoenix didn't have a video analysis department at all, so I was sort of starting from scratch.
So you built it out yourself?
I built it out myself, which was quite nerve-wracking, but also quite good because I had scope to sort of do what I wanted within the framework and the budgets of the club, and they were really supportive. And so I actually came right at the end of the 2022 season, and I think they had 3 games left, and they didn't reach the playoffs. And then it was a huge transition moment for the club. The club sort of let go almost every single player. So my first sort of exposure to the first team football environment was actually being involved in scouting a whole new team.
Yeah, like a rebuild.
Like a rebuild, yeah. And it was incredible. Like, new manager, Juan Guerra, obviously, who's at Houston now. And, like a whole new team. So that was actually quite a real good experience for me to be involved in scouting players.
Yeah.
I wasn't really involved in that in Chelsea in the academy. So that was sort of like my first sort of step into professional football in a full-time perspective, was that sort of realm. And it was really interesting. And then sort of went on from there, had a amazing year in 2023 where we won the USL. And that was the first time the club had ever won it. And that was just an amazing experience working in America, working in a professional football environment full-time, and experiencing success. And the playoff run was probably still to this day one of the most incredible things ever. You know, missing the first 3 penalties in the final,
crazy,
and scoring the next, and Rocco Rios-Novo, who's now at Inter Miami, saving the 3 penalties, and we won the league away to Charleston.
Wow! And
it was incredible. It was one of the most amazing experiences ever.
Wow! Now you're here.
And now I'm here.
Now you're here. So please take the fans now. I mean, what an incredible story! How you basically created your own luck.
Yeah, and I think that was something that I think probably stood out when I had my interview here, was that I almost sort of generated this role for myself by just me putting myself out there. And I never done that before. Yeah. That was really unlike me to sort of...
Actually?
Yeah. Surprisingly, yes. To sort of throw myself out there and, send a few messages out there, not knowing if you're going to get a response, not knowing it's going to lead to a full-time job in a different country, a completely different environment. When the job at Minnesota came up, I was ready for the next step as well. Yeah. After the USL, I loved my time at Phoenix, I loved my time at the USL, but I also knew that I wanted to get to the MLS and get to the top level of soccer in America. And when this opportunity came up, I jumped at the chance at it to be at a club like this. And as I said, fast forward now, having an amazing time. Working with some amazing people.
Hey students, need a study break? If you've got a .edu email address, we've got deals for you. Sign up for our Student Deals program to be notified of ticket offerings as low as $20 for various Minnesota United home games. Visit MNUFC.com to learn more. You've been a very welcomed, fun addition. So take the fans into more specifically what your role might look like on a weekly, daily basis here. Obviously, it's just not yourself. You have a little bit of a team behind you. Yep. But again, just take the fans into, this is a huge side of what they don't see, right? This is some of the thick weeds of the day-to-day, I would just say, meetings and video analysis that the players go through. That is a huge part of our lives, but the fans see literally none of it. So just walk us through that a bit.
Yeah, so I'll probably start with the core responsibilities of a video analyst, I would probably say, in the MLS. So the first one I'd probably say is like a lot of opponent analysis. So I will create a detailed report on the opposition every week, and that would include a lot of video, a lot of data, and I'll go through the phases as well of how the team plays for the coaching staff, and I'll present it to them so everyone can sort of get a good picture of how the opposition play. So
disclaimer, by the way, this isn't something where we're writing the book.
Nah, of course.
Oh, you guys analyze your opponents?
And everyone does this across the league.
But again, to highlight your role.
Of course. And so my framework usually is I'll start with a little bit of background about the team and the manager. And, I'm obviously very new to the league as well. So I'll draw on experiences from the coaching staff, and James as well, my assistant, who has definitely a better understanding of players in this league and coaches in this league and certain climates in this league for opposition as well. Like, it's all new to me as well. So I'll draw on a lot of knowledge and experience from other people to create this report. And instead of start off with a bit of background about the team and the coach, a little bit about their recent form. And then I usually start with them in possession and how a team play from goal kicks. So, are they a team that like to play out a lot? Are they a team that like to go direct? Are they a team that have a certain shape they like to build out from that's different to their open play shape as well? Who are the key players in build up as well? And I'll try and add some statistics as well. How much of a long ball team they are, how many times they go long into the front men. And then I'll gradually work up the field and I'll go into a build up phase. Is it different from goal kicks? How do they build up? What are their trends? What are their patterns? What are their tendencies in build up? Who are the key players? Only players that drop deep or go out wide. Just try to give the coaching staff a real good picture of what the most common trend is for that team. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go through again into the attacking mid-third, how they like to build to chances. Did I prefer going down the left? Did they prefer going to their right? Or their central progression team? And again, looking at key players in those moments. And then finally, I'll finish in the attacking third,
Mm-hmm.
How do they create chances? How do they score goals? Who are the biggest threats in and around the box? And then I'll switch to them out of possession. And I'll start with, okay, so how do they press goal kicks? Do they press goal kicks? Are they a pressing team? Are they a team that let you have the ball, let you have the first pass, and then they have triggers? And then I'll work back again, is that different to how they open play press? Is there anything different in defensive mid-third or defending low? And then I'll sort of try and tie in a few bits where I feel like there's areas we can exploit in their game as well. Is there any sort of tendencies or trends and how they concede goals, how they concede chances? So that's sort of how the opposition side will work. And as I said, I'll present that for about 30 minutes to the coaching staff. And that will sort of kickstart discussions as well between the coaches and the technical staff, which I think is a really good process. I think it gets everyone involved as well. So that's probably these opposition sides. Then the next side will be a lot of training analysis as well. So you've probably seen, we have multiple drones up at a time for filming trainings. We get a tactical angle for every session, and the goalkeeper sessions are filmed as well, so that the coaches can reflect and review with the players on anything they see in training. And then we'll animate some clips as well for meetings throughout the week from training clips. And then it will go into match analysis. So on a game day, myself and James, which I'll touch on, I think the MLS do really well here for analysts. So in the MLS, there's a designated space for analysts in every stadium, which is really good because, sometimes I've been in leagues where you don't have that, which has been tough at times. But the MLS do a really good job at giving you a space, giving you internet connection, and they have automated cameras around the stadium which give you multiple angles, and you can just plug in and you get the angle straight onto your laptop. So a typical game day will be, we'll get to the stadium and we'll set up multiple iPads on the bench, which will give a tactical angle, and we'll also get a TV feed as well for like replays or anything the coaching staff want to see on the bench. And then for me and James upstairs, we'll have a tactical angle going in from a bird's eye view, which is really good, so you can see the wide angle of the field. And then we'll sort of sit down as a technical staff, any sort of last minute changes we want to do to a pre-match meeting, and then we'll get the lineup through. And that's quite an important part of the day where you see, right, okay, is it how we think they're going to set up? Is there different players playing? Is there that potentially could mean different shape changes potentially? And then we'll deliver that to the team. And then, on a game day, it's all systems go. I'm mic'd up to yourself on the bench, which is fun. But so, I'm upstairs with James and we're just sort of coding the game. Any sort of things we see, any things we notice. And this could be just from in general, are we, really doing the things we want to do in training in the week that we said we would? Is there anything the opposition are doing that's different? Is there anything the opposition doing that are hurting us? Anything we need to tweak? So I'll build an organizer of clips for the coaching staff at halftime. And sometimes, you'll see stuff as well and you'll mention it to me. And then at halftime, we'll run down and we'll, as a technical staff, we'll grab some clips together to show to the team at halftime. and I think it's a really good process as well. We've got big touchscreen monitor in the dressing room, so really visual for the players to see anything, and that's the same for away games as well. Something I've really wanted to make sure we kept the standard we had at home games as well. So something I introduced this season was traveling with a portable screen and projector, so that we could still offer the players the same analysis at home games and away games as well, no matter what the environment is, which I think has been a really good process this season. And then the second half will happen again, similar things. Anything we notice, we'll be noting down, and then at the end of the game, we're just sort of tidying up anything and give the coaches the game so they have it straight on their laptop after the game.
Rinse, wash, repeat.
Rinse, wash, repeat.
I mean, that's a really good insight into the detailed process. And every team is different. Every club is different. Some people analyze differently. I know for a bit, if I'm not mistaken, Kansas City used to have iPads of every player's touches in the first half when they came in at halftime. So you could go back and be like, oh, that's right. I had this ball and this guy was in this spot. So you could, personalize it. But I think, again, this process is a team that built this together, and it's been fun to see you settle in and really put your fingerprint on everything. And I would say we had Dan Bell on recently, and yourself and your guys' teams are huge parts of what gets zero recognition, but is a huge part of what makes this team successful. So kudos to you guys for doing so. I enjoy being on the mic with you. It's always a good time. And I think for me, one of my favorite things that I've been a part of in my transition is the 5 minutes at halftime, right when we go in. Yeah. Because we have everything's semi pre-planned. We're in control. That is like a war room. Yeah. Where you go in, clips are flying, ideas are going. It's organized. It's simple. The boss comes in, Eric comes in and picks what he thinks is important, has a few conversations, maybe potential subs, maybe not, maybe just general thoughts and concepts going in the second half, maybe messages, and then it's consolidate, go out and execute. And it feels like a stock room where you're kind of sitting there and everyone's going. And then for me, that's been the most fun. But my last question here before we go off is, as someone who analyzes a lot of statistics around the team and around the league, is there any special or unique statistic that our team provides that might not necessarily be somewhere out there like, oh, you guys don't have very much possession? That's a little bit different than some of the normal ones that you found quite interesting that would, just give a little insight into our team.
I'll probably say the one that stands out to me the most is I think we have the most goals from long throws so far.
Oh, who'd have thought? Whoa. Oh, by the way, I don't know. Oh, this might have died. If that did die, if it didn't, regardless. Yeah. I want to start doing the scarf twirl.
100%.
Because I think for us on the pitch, it's a moment to change a game. And we do it for corner kicks. I want to start doing that for long throws. Because imagine if we created, 10, 15 more moments like that where we engage with the fans, and then the opponent starts to feel a little bit of that pressure. And obviously we're generating chances, and fans and the other teams hate defending it. So if we were to now, again, go through that process and really ram it down their throats and, hey, this is going to be something where we're going to go at you, I think it'd be fun. But regardless, what do I know? But thank you so much for coming on the Sound of the Loons podcast brought to you by Line of Health. It was incredible chatting with you and hearing your story. I didn't know a lot of that, so I'm awesome that we got to chat about it here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you come back at the end of the year with some better statistics than long throw-in goals.
We'll have some better ones, 100%.
There we go. I'll get a list next time. But that's been this week's episode. Here's to us next time.